Hello, it's Felisa, and it's been a while since we did like kind of like a heart to heart kind of thing. So, I'm gonna show the video that I recorded about a month ago on existential loneliness. And I just watched it and it was quite good. But then I was like, damn, girl, do you have to like get all into your personal feelings in this video? I was like, I know I do that, but like, damn. Mm. So that's kind of why I didn't want to share it because I was like, this is too personal, weird. But because I'm gonna talk about these things right now anyway, I was like, might as well dig it up from the vault, the secret little vault of Belisa's feelings. Okay. So I wasn't sure whether to attach this in the beginning or end of that other video, which I would recommend you to watch. But I think I'm gonna do this first because just because that one kind of drags on for a while or just keeps going, and I was like, I'm not sure who's gonna be here by the end. I do think this is something I want to say. Basically, I wanted to record this because I was feeling a little concerned about people in my community, and because not once, not twice, not three times, but actually looking back at least five times or more, many times, I've actually been seeing a trend. Um, and I want to encourage you not to attach yourself in an unhealthy way to me. uh, you should definitely watch the other video because I go more into depth about the relationship between the streamer and her viewer, and vice versa. It's a two-way relationship between me and my community, and between people watching me and me, both ways, how this might feel. And I understand both ways where this is coming from because I both stream and create content and do YouTube, and also watch other people do content, also participate in other people's chats and communities as well. So I've been kind of experiencing both sides and getting a feel for what this is like. But I want to say that if your feelings are more personal and involved, such as developing some kind of a romantic idea or fantasy or attachment, I can understand that too. I can understand that too. But I would recommend my my personal feeling on this is that it's best not to fall in love or feel like any sense of love towards, of course, I have a general sense of love, but not like specifically romantically attached to someone online and not someone you know in person. And I know there's countless stories of people meeting online and falling in love, but it's not, but they're both kind of anonymous in the beginning. It's not just like one person is making themselves known and the other person is anonymous. If that's the case, I would say I don't recommend that because, first, what is love? What is love to me personally? I I think a lot of people are attached to a notion of a collection of traits or qualities that they want to find in a person. And when they see it, they're very excited. Whether that person hits three of their, you know, check boxes in their head, or like, or a lot, or they just seem like so perfect to you because they're like, oh, this person likes chess and they like music and they like art and they like talking about stuff like this. And it's like, oh my god, me too. And that's so special, and we must be specially destined. Um, I think that a true relationship between people is not about someone being attractive to you on paper, or even, you know, on a screen, but it's more about the dynamic that you two have, that you two share and cultivate together. And that is something that you don't have unless you interact with somebody. Yes, and I think in person, or at least in a real, in a substantive way. or in a romantic way as well. And then you can sense, how does this person interact in a romantic situation? How do they provide for you? How do they care for you? Do they even care about you? Do you care for each other? Do you guys create something beautiful together? Do you make each other laugh? Do you make each other happy? Do you light up each other's day? Do you, like, reflect light and joy in each other's eyes? Like, those special moments are things that you share and that you grow and you develop between people. It's not about qualities, right? Um, which is why it never made sense to me personally to like have a sense of like to create a list, which I have done, but like, but it's never about things like how tall are they, what do they look like, how much money they make, what do they wear, what do they own, what do they like to do, their hobbies. Some people make that so important. Like, I want shared interests, I want shared hobbies. I heard a story about some guy like trying to find someone who also likes to run like 15 miles a day so they could run together, whatever. I was like, what? At least for me, it's not about these things. It's more about the dynamic. And right? For example, oh shoot, I'm gonna jump off this personal train again. For example, you might think that I want to find someone who plays chess or plays chess really well. However, I really think that's completely irrelevant. Because what I found out in my own life is whether or not a person plays chess or cares about chess at all has nothing to do with whether they care anything about you. And would you rather be with the super hot genius chess player who's multi-talented, multilingual, whatever, and who is also really kind and a great person, but they just don't really care about you, and they don't like you that much. They don't invest that much in you. They don't really like, they don't make you feel special. They don't want to spend time with you. They don't want to like, they don't care about you. They don't ask how you are. They don't care when you're sick, right? Like, this kind of person, would you want to be with them? No, because they can be so amazing. They can be great. They can be a great person, an upstanding citizen. But there's no love, because when you're sick, it's like, who's there for me? Is he going to be there for me? Is he going to say, hi, like, how are you? I'm here for you. Like, okay, tell me you're sad. Tell me what happened today. Like, right? These things are what's important. And the person can be the most amazing person ever, but if they're not there for you in that way, then I'm sorry, there's no romantic relationship. So that's what I found out for myself. Is things that I thought I like or whatever, it's all superficial. And like, I don't attach myself to people in that way anymore because it's not about that. It's only about the dynamic that we create. And when I sense that that person doesn't actually invest or care about you in a way that I would want to be cared for, again, because people's levels are different, then I find that no, I don't want that. And so why I'm sharing this is because I hopefully you guys can have that sense of what makes a healthy relationship for you too. Because if the girl is super hot and super smart and super kind and great and amazing, but she's not there for you in that way, or she can't be there for you in that way, then why obsess and attach over someone who you don't who's who doesn't have that actual connection with you? Like, right? So I want let's have a healthy sense of like what we actually want in this kind of partnership. Hopefully, that I hope you may experience. And I really want to interview the guy someday because I was in Gata Kamsky's stream of all people, and he started talking about relationships and love, and it was really really interesting to me. And asked my chess players and everything. And then one guy in chat was kind of salty, or like, one of those cynics, bitter cynics. He was like, I'd rather be good at chess. Who cares about women? And Gato was like, I disagree. He's like, I disagree. Like, I completely disagree. He's like, women are actually very, very necessary to a man's happiness. I don't know if you agree or don't, because I don't, like, I think because people are different and they may not always be necessary. But anyway, I would like to interview him or have him upload that video. So that's separate, but I thought that was interesting on just this very niche topic of chess players and love. Since this is a chess channel mostly, although I do talk about stuff like this, and people have been in my streams, know how much I love talking about stuff like this. That's why I'm sharing this. Um, and because in the video I'm going to share, I do talk about me relying on my community as well. And now I'm talking about this. I think that there should be this awareness that, um, like yes, we can help support or assuage each other's loneliness to a degree, right? And we can be there for each other. But I want there to be a source of permanence, a source of happiness and joy outside of this virtual gathering of people and outside of this space. I think that's very important. Um, because yes, it is convenient, it is always accessible, and those are the joys of this dynamic. But there's also a very great joy in finding something and seeing a person, right? And sharing an actual connection and being open to those moments. And so I think to a degree, those attachments that may arise, whether to me or to other people, it may come from a sense of safety and a sense of projection, precisely because you don't actually know the in and outs of the other person. It's great to have that basic framework, and then all the interior design, all the plush furnishings, everything else, the plumbing, electricity, are just invented by your mind. It's just like whatever you want, and then you can fantasize about, and then you can just add on, install. It's easy to do, and it's a projection. And I think we have to be aware of that. We have to be aware of that. Um, that perhaps something may be not quite so right, or that we're missing, or that we want, and we are trying to fill it via another means. And I'm glad I can help provide, I don't know if this is even the right word, the service or be of service to people. And that's what I wanted to do. I said I wanted to bring joy or share connection, share meaning, or perhaps to inspire or to, I don't know, just to connect. These are all things that I do enjoy doing that I wanted to do. But I want people to be aware of the nature of this dynamic. And I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, should I just share the other video? Because I could talk about more things, but yeah. But yeah, again, this is something that I said in my other video, but like yeah, the real world is scary. It's because people are so intensely, they're so limited, you know? I was just telling someone this recently, like we're so prone to be disappointed with people in our real lives, or to be hurt by them, to suffer in their presence because they're so limited. And us too, we're so limited by our responses. It's almost like conditioned responses. Now, sometimes you just want to avoid the whole thing and just to withdraw. And I found that, yeah, avoidance or withdrawal is definitely a mechanism for myself to deal with things, uncomfortable situations, circumstances, people who I don't know might cause me discomfort or pain. So I'd rather just withdraw and avoid them. And so it becomes like this self isolating cocoon. And then it's very easy to isolate. And then, but you still want connection, right? You still, humans have a innate need, desire. You could be completely schizoidal, but you would still want a sense of some connection. And I don't know, unless they're a complete drone. I guess there are people like that, but for the most part, right? You still feel a sense of connection. So we go online. I guess what I'm trying to say is, at least in relation to me, please be aware, because I don't want to be a cause for further illusion and suffering. I would like to help, but I don't want to be a cause. And so some people have told me that they want to pull away or do whatever they need to do. And if that's what you need to do, that's okay. And I support you. I support you. Um, but I also understand. I don't know. I don't really have a solution. I don't know what I was trying to say. I guess basically the TLDR is just, please don't fall in love with me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But you know as well as I that you're not really in love with me. It's just an illusion. And okay, we'll watch the other video because that was actually, I think, more profound. And I'll redo the quote on the love and flower thing that I have. Okay, I'll redo that quote. Hey, it's Belisa, and I just wanted to do a little heart to heart with you guys. It's one of those videos, it's one of those nights. I honestly felt really, really, really tired and just wanted to go to bed because it was like a hassle uploading the video. And yeah, so but then I felt like if I don't make this video now, I probably wouldn't, like, the energy will have shifted in the morning and I won't feel like talking about it anymore. Um I'll basically just read you some messages that I just responded to a viewer of mine. Basically, he sent me a bunch of DMs, and of course, I'm not gonna say who it is, and it's completely fine. It's fine. Like, this person is fine. But I want to read you what I responded to him because yeah, it might be interesting and be a open up a window for discussion about some topics. So I say hey. I say hey. I want to say that I normally don't respond to DMs and will not respond here anymore. But I want to encourage you to participate in therapy or any form of therapeutic activity, probably therapy. You are aware enough that there are things to slowly resolve and dissolve, and maybe therapy will help with that, to make a conscious effort to take responsibility for your own well being. Very often, we want to place our health or wellness in the hands of someone else, hoping they may save us or provide some relief or solution. They will not. I cannot. And you know this. Just like how you cannot put the responsibility on me to block you or do anything, you must take responsibility for your own actions, inaction, and emotion. You are open to change. You are desperate for it even. But no one can make the step for self-care other than you. To put yourself as separate and unique and above may be somewhat comforting, but it is a recipe for loneliness too. Either be okay with aloneness, or make yourself okay to be the same, to see the same humanity in yourself as everyone. Otherwise, it is very lonely indeed. But that doesn't have to be wrong. I also want to give some unsolicited advice in terms of building relationships in general. You are earnest and genuine, but overwhelming. There has to be a certain level of reciprocity and mirroring. If the other person is not responding, it is a sign to let it go. This is tough as there is obsessiveness, but obsession is not a relationship, it is not connection. So allow the other person to breathe, match the energy sometimes. I wish the best for you, and I may continue to see you in my streams, but the DMs will stop. Thank you. Maybe you would like the video I did on presence, how to live your best life. I'm not sure if you've watched it already, but I want you to know you are enough. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone or show anything or compare. You are enough and you have infinite power. Breathe. Breathe before you speak, hold still before you speak. And maybe you would like to help someone else, spend time on a cause for someone else's benefit. That will help ease your mind out of your own misfortune and make you feel your inner light and potential. See you. Good luck. So, I say this to him, and I'd say this to perhaps other people watching. And I can understand it myself. I can understand the loneliness, I can understand. I was just telling a friend last night how before I started streaming, like I never actually watched any streams. I never was part of Twitch. I like didn't understand what it was about at all. And I never like felt like watched any streams or even watched any YouTubers like religiously, like felt like I was like a fan of anybody or. But after I started doing Twitch and streaming myself and getting to know the community and certain people and streamers and hang out with people, it slowly became more and more a part of my own social sphere and slowly it became almost addictive. It becomes like a substitute, very much a haven for your sense of connection, your well being, your relationships. And even as I was not meeting a lot of friends in real life, I found myself gravitating towards my new community online. I remember as a child, there was a phase like in eighth grade, I was like super obsessed with The Sims, like The Sims 2, and I was like active in a lot of like online forums and stuff. And I remember my dad telling me at the time, he was like, you have to live in reality. He's like, you have to go out there and like try to live in reality more. And actually, I did that. I like stopped doing so much online stuff and hang out with online friends, and my whole personality kind of changed in high school, and I would force myself. But a lot of that was a result of trauma and pain and you know disassociation. But yeah, I like became much more outgoing, and I would go out there. But like slowly over time, I find myself reverting back to the personality or who I was growing up, and more also finding people online. And I think a lot of it is because yeah, one shared interest, we all like chess and stuff, but also there's a sense of comfort and stability and presence, like that sometimes you can't feel safe enough to find in real life. And basically, I was telling my friend how I understood. Like after I started streaming, watching other streamers, I started understanding the the personal need, the sense of feeling of connection to people that you watch. Um, and I said how it became a bit addictive because I would find myself missing them, like, or using it as a substitute, or like an emotional crutch. Like I can't say how many times, yes, my community, either my YouTube, my Twitch, have helped me through sort of moments in life, moments when I felt really down, really sad, really disappointed with certain people, or I couldn't rely on certain people, but there was my community who was always there for me. And whenever I wanted to be online, like I could see them, I could talk to them, and they were different people. And I was just like, I just like watched one of my poetry streams where like I was like scrolling through it, and one guy said, for men, loneliness is cumulative. Like a little connection from a lot of people is the same as a lot of connection from one person. And then I found myself thinking about that. At the time, I was kind of like, is that so? But like now when I saw it, I was like, it's not just men, it's humans, it's people, it's for me too. Like It's funny because throughout this journey, there have been viewers who at first would watch every single day, comment every single day, and at a certain point they left. And I don't know why they left or what they're up to, but of course I don't know them, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. You live your life. Or there are people who actually would tell me like, okay, I have to unsubscribe to you because it's not healthy for me anymore. Whatever it is. They're like, I have to stop watching your videos. I'm like, okay, sure. You do you, I appreciate you. And you're part of my journey for so long, and in Chinese it's called 缘分. At a certain point, our paths cross, and at a certain point, they will diverge. And if it's time for it to diverge, then that's fine, and I wish you the best. So there have been people who've found me and left me, but in general, the sense of there being a community, of there being people, have, even if they're different people, have this sense of this feeling has stayed relatively constant. So there have been moments like, you know, that I could have been really sad, but I found myself, I guess, maybe using it as a distraction. But they're, in that sense, they're like my friends, they're really like my friends, they're like my people. And I know that I provide the same, I guess, value or service or whatever you want to call it. Um, I feel the same need for the people who are watching me sometimes. And whether or not you want to say it's healthy, I guess you just have to realize that, realize the limitations. Like I'm telling this viewer, like, yeah, I mean, I can understand. That's what I'm trying to say. I understand. I understand the obsessiveness. Like what I told him about the reciprocity and mirroring is something that I only very, very recently kind of am even able to do because I'm a pretty obsessive person. And in the past, whenever people would like stop responding to me or like, pull away, I didn't really understand why. So I guess you would want to like keep pursuing or keep like investigating, like or like keep holding on or being attached. But it's like sometimes you gotta let it go and just be okay with it, because more often than not, it's your own it's your own attachment to an idea, a fantasy, a vision that's not real, that doesn't exist. Like everything you're aggressively pursuing or wanting or needing is something that is actually for satisfaction of your own sense of self, right? Whenever whenever you sense that someone likes you, or like you want them to like you, or you want them to be attached to you in some way, is it more about them or is it more about you, right? There's something I really, really love. There's a quote about, very often it's Buddhist. It's like very often we're focused on the I who's doing the loving and not the quality of the love that's being offered. When we say I love you, we focus more on I love you, so therefore you must love me. We don't focus enough on what is the love that I'm actually offering. Is it actually love? Do they actually want it? Is it more about the love in the other person, the connection, or is it about me? In fact, I'll read it for you. I'll read it for you. I didn't understand for a very, very long time. You know what? Where is that? I used to have it on a sticky notes here. Let me try to find it. I probably have a sticky note. Okay, it's probably on my other computer then. It's probably on my other computer. But maybe I can find it on my phone as well. Hold up. I mean, I can probably even just paraphrase it for you, but it's written so beautifully that I want to read you the whole thing. Hmm. It's actually not here. Okay, fine. So I will have to paraphrase it for you. I'll probably like when I find it, I'll like put it in the comments. Okay. Very often when we say I love you, we focus more on the I who is doing the loving and less on the quality of the love that's being offered. That is because we think there is a separate sense of self, but that is an illusion. We are, in reality, we're more like a flower. Just like the flower is not separate from the sunlight, from the non flower elements that make up the flower, so that you and I are not actually separate. I'm doing a terrible job with this paraphrasing. Oh my god, I so wish I could just read it for you. Basically, it means that we are actually interbeing. We are connected, just like a flower is connected with the soil, with the air, with the wind, with the sunlight. It is not separate from the elements that comprise of the flower, just so that you and I are not actually separate in the sense of ourselves. So when we realize this, then we can end suffering because we recognize the other person's suffering as our own. And I have a, I mean, I'm just like everybody. Like I have a huge problem with that, right? I have a huge problem with my ego. And one problem with my and one poll that I did, I was like, how big is your ego? And I did that because I find like, I mean, you guys are actually pretty aware. Like a lot of people said your egos are moderately large, above average. Because I feel like, yeah, with sports or competitive things like chess, right? It like tends like people with egos tend to like it because you're like proving a point. You're proving your ego. You want to like, you want to win. You want to fight. So I mean, I have a big ego. I have a huge ass ego. And if it's not for my awareness that's keeping it in check, or for me having, wanting to have the awareness to keep my ego in check, my ego is naturally freaking large as hell. Let's just say. So, anyway, back to the original point about reciprocity and connection. Yeah, a lot of the time when we say that we love someone or we want someone, it's so much more about proving a point to our own ego. Like I realized like before, like all my obsession, all my addictiveness, my clinging, or like me forcibly trying to convince other person, yeah, you do like me. Yeah, of course you do like me. Like, hello. It had more to do with like my ego refusing to admit that like how could you not like me? Are you kidding? Like what? Like how could you tell me all this? How could you like look at me like this? How could you talk to me like this? And then later on say, okay, you don't actually want this and this. You know, like it's me refusing to, I don't know. It's, yeah, it's more like an egoic need to prove myself or prove a point or to be right or to force something. But that's not connection and that's not actually love. And I like to say that at least recently, I felt like for the first time, like a first glimpse into what unconditional love may truly be like. In the sense, like, it's so easy. It's not so attached, you know, it's not so addictive. In the sense, like actually this person stopped responding to me or like didn't respond to a certain thing. And it made me really, really sad. Like, it gave me a lot of pain, you know, that I still feel. But it's fine. It's fine because yeah, because I want them to be okay. I want them to be happy. And if their happiness and well-being does not necessarily have me in the picture, then that is fine. Even if it makes me feel pain. But yeah, there's a Chinese phrase called 君子之交淡如水，小人之交黏如洗. It means the relationship between two virtuous men is like clear water. It's like as clear and transparent and flowing as water. Whereas the connection between two little people is like as thick as kanji. Absorb from that what you will, but it's a very apt metaphor for me. And I sense this in a lot of people. Um, anyway, what I'm feeling right now is existential loneliness, you know? And I'm sure a lot of you guys feel it. And it's okay because it's not something that I think can really be fixed or that. I mean, you see me, I'm fine. I'm like happy. I'm like, everything's fine. But I mean, this is just also a thing. It's just like, yeah, the loneliness is not necessarily something that someone else can save or solve. And I found myself like asking people to like kind of fill a void, having them like, you know, play certain roles or substitute certain things for you. But at the end, it just stems from your own sense of lack. And that sense is entirely existential, you know? I don't think I don't think they can actually fill it. Even if they can fill it temporarily, it is not permanent. So a true sense of must a true sense of okayness, of peace must only come from yourself. And if you find yourself asking anyone else to try to save it, solve it, fill something for you, then you know that that person is bound to leave you with the same pain that you started off with. Only worse because then you're going to project it onto them and think that it's their fault. But know that you carried it within yourself this whole time. So you find yourself, with the same people, the same faces, filling different roles in your life, almost like nothing changed. Like different chapters in the same book, different different masks on the same face. And so if that starts happening, then you know that all of that is just because they're just reflections of just yourself. And when you feel that, then you sense that you were alone all along, you know? And that feeling is pretty, yeah, it is lonely. But you can be okay with the aloneness, like I said. Anyway, I'm not sure if any of this. But yeah, I can understand, because I found myself, yeah, like with my stream, with the people online, like I found myself being able to tell them things that or like talk about things that I don't even want to talk about in real life to people because you start sensing people's energies, right? Like there are friends who like I've told certain things to, and like now I don't tell certain things to because some things closest to my heart, like you start saying some things and you just see their expression and their judgment and their energy change and they're closed off or they don't want to hear it. They don't want to. And because I'm, like, you're sensitive to like nuances and things like that, you start not feeling safe or you start not feeling comfortable. But in front of, I guess, in front of your people, in front of an anonymous community, you can say whatever the hell you want. And same for them. And I kind of understood, yeah. I understood the appeal of attaching yourself to someone online or liking someone online. it's because I found myself doing something similar, right? It's because they're always accessible. And that is so amazing to have in this society, in this day and age, when we're so disconnected and we don't have our tribe, our tribal community, our network of people, our stable group to see every single day, or often flawed connections, you know? To have someone you can always see and rely on and trust and just like to look at whenever you want is so amazing. It's just so absolutely amazing because there's someone I miss so much. Like I miss him so much, and I asked him to like send me some pictures or like just so I can see what he's doing, what he's up to, what's going on, and he didn't send me anything. And I was like, okay, I mean that's fine, but it made me so sad, right? Or like the feeling of missing, or you know, it's so painful sometimes. But with someone online, you can see them whenever you want. And then I was telling my friend, I was like, this is like having an online, it's almost like having a pet, right? Because he has like that camera in his house, like a pet cam to see his pet. And I was like, this is like kind of like the equivalent of having that camera to see someone you want to see whenever you want to see them. And that's freaking pretty scary, honestly. Yeah, because I've like had that before, like kind of like a lot of long distance things are like that. Like that person in your phone becomes like an freaking pet, like digital pet that like every day you can like, oh, I'm gonna feed them some like slabs of whatever. I'm gonna feed them with 20 coins. I'm gonna like take care of this digital pet that I have. Honestly, a lot of like online things are like that. So that's pretty freaking crazy, honestly. Anyway, what I'm saying is I understand the appeal and I understand how that feels, a need for connection and attachment and safety, and relieves the existential sense of loss and entropy and disconnect and loneliness. I can understand. I think that's all I want to say. I don't I don't know if I have a solution. Or I told this guy to go to therapy, but like that's because he seems to want to tell me a lot of things and enjoys having a person to vent to or like talk to about everything. But I was like, I can't be that person for you. Like, right? Um, it'll be more helpful to have a real person to be able to vent everything to. And for me, that person often, I mean, yeah, I'm venting to you guys or to this online this online network, but in general, yeah, I talk to God, and yeah, I grew up as an atheist, like as someone who didn't believe in anything. It's very like scientific minded people, engineers, scientists, doctors. Um, very little spiritual woo woo. Like they don't talk the way I talk about things. Like you don't hear them talking about presence and love and energy and whatever things like that, right? I didn't grow up with stuff like that. But once I found God, it changed my life. It really did. Like, and I mean God in the sense of before when I didn't call it God, I called it the universe. I would pray to the universe. It'd be crazy how sometimes I pray and like things would happen, or it's just insane how that happens. So I always felt that sense of connection, but it became stronger until yeah, until now I'm pretty spiritual as you see. But I think having that has been really, really helpful because before I would seek pain or do a lot of crazy shit that now I'm just like it'd be unthinkable because I'm just like, wow, she was really out there. She was really something. um, I'm not sure if this is helpful or to anybody. I guess that's not the point. I guess it's just another way of connection. I just want to say I understand. But I understand. It's all okay and it's fine. It's fine. And it's fine. That being said, I appreciate you guys a lot. Yeah, I have cried in front of my stream like freaking I want to say at least 3 times now. Like I just cried. I told them about like my problems. Freaking like, you know, it's crazy. All right. I wish you guys. Now I'm feeling tired again. I felt like inspired and like the thoughts as they came into my mind were more coherent and like better flowing and phrased than they're coming out now. Like when I had the inspiration to do this video, it was like everything was like perfectly just like flowed in my mind. And then the minute I like sat down and started talking, it just became like blah blah this da 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 da. Wait, this da 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 da. I wonder how society is gonna become, or like, I, I think like I think it was like 10 years ago or something. Yeah, it was at least like 10 years ago. I participated in this essay competition that was like, what is the biggest disease ailing society today, or something like that? What's the biggest problem that society is facing? And back then I was like this gung ho environmental activist and everything. But like I remember I answered that essay. Like I wrote this thing on disconnect. I said disconnect is society's greatest disease. I don't know if I could phrase it with just a sense. It's a sense that, you know, as our roots are being uplifted, I mean, people, everything that a lot of people are facing more and more these days, anxiety, depression, everything, mental illness, trauma, generational pain, war, everything, migration. Um, yes, it creates a lot of psychological burdens and the sense of that sense of disconnect and the existential loneliness I'm talking about has to be has to be pretty big and growing. I was just thinking how like how people may be resistant. I think that I've talked enough today. I don't think I want to say much more. I think that's that. Good night. Good night, my people. Adios. Okay, I have the quote for you. Often when we say, I love you, we focus mostly on the idea of the I who is doing the loving and less on the quality of the love that's being offered. This is because we are caught by the idea of self. We think we have a self, but there is no such thing as an individual, separate self. A flower is made only of non flower elements such as chlorophyll, sunlight, and water. If we were to remove all the non flower elements from the flower, there would be no flower left. A flower cannot be by herself alone. A flower can only interbe with all of us. It's much closer to the truth. Humans are like this too. We can't exist by ourselves alone. We can only interbe. I am made only of non me elements, such as the earth, the sun, parents, and ancestors. In a relationship, if you can see the nature of interbeing between you and the other person, you can see that his suffering is your own suffering and your happiness is his own happiness. With this way of seeing, you speak and act differently. This in itself can relieve so much suffering. So I love that a lot. And let's just say also, I don't believe that a woman is necessary to anyone's happiness. Just, I don't believe that, yeah. I think that true happiness stems from something eternal that is being, whether you want to call it being, you want to call it God, the essence of life. There is a source of eternal joy that is beyond an external attachment to a person. That is what I believe. Okay, that's that. My folks, my children. Yes. Bye for the third time in this video. Bye.